Hey everybody, hope and pray that you're doing well today as we come to our word from the Word. And today that word is burden. Burden. Now I know today in honor of Memorial Day, you see that picture of a soldier there with that big rucksack or backpack on. And of course, today we do want to honor all those and the memory of all those soldiers and their families that have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom here in this nation. And of course, that always reminds us of the wonderful picture we have of Jesus Christ, who died for our eternal freedom as well. So, as we come to Hebrews chapter 12, fittingly, we see Jesus as that example and even talking about the sacrifice that he made. But in looking in chapter 12, it's hard for me to go beyond these first two verses and not use those as our word from the word for today. As there's a lot of great things in this chapter that he continues to build on, even talking about the disciplining and the chastening of the Lord. That that we don't enjoy it and we don't enjoy discipline, but we also know that we can look back and thank God for it. Uh, you know, uh, Even the discipline we have in our childhood growing up, you didn't enjoy it at the moment, but you can look back and thank God for what your parents taught you in that. And so in kind of that same frame, we can look and thank God for his disciplining and his chastening of us when we are being sinful, when we are being in the flesh, and he tries to correct that and get us back in a right mindset and a right heart set, really. But in verses 1 and 2, he gives us a clear direction. The author here gives us a clear direction and a clear focus. And we have so much in our world today that is a burden. And if we're not careful, everything can become a burden. I mean, even doing the right things and godly things can become a burden if we have a wrong attitude towards it. Tell people all the time that, I mean, even the things that you do at church or for church, and when they become a burden, then you're not doing them for the Lord anymore. You just kind of are doing it because you have to. And that's easy for anybody, not just people in ministry, just anyone, once you dedicate a lot of time to anything. So, as we think about that as a whole in the spiritual walk that we have with Christ, and this race that we have here set before us here on earth, he gives us a clear direction. So, Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2 today. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Now, that picture that we had there of a soldier with that weight, right? You imagine the weight of that rucksack, and as they train with that on as well. Can you imagine how much easier it is to run without it? I mean, you think about it anytime you watch the Olympics or any kind of racing in a foot race, any type of race like that, or a marathon, you don't see people carrying book bags. You don't see them putting on extra like the weighted vest and things that they may train with. No, because while training, you may have on a heavy weight. When it really gets down to it and running the race, you have to set those weights aside. Yes, they all trained you to make you more capable to race and to run and to have the endurance that you need now. But when you're actually running the race, you need to put those weights down. And so that's kind of what the author is saying here. He says, look, as we're in this race, I love how he begins, even as we have this such great cloud of witnesses, looking back to Hebrews 11 and the Hall of Faith. Think about all of those saints who have gone on before us and who are kind of cheering us on, right? I mean, it's kind of that idea that heaven is cheering us on and saying, look, just run your race all the way to the finish line. Now, what's at the finish line? Right? We're looking at the finish line, looking unto Jesus. He's the author and finisher. And I love even thinking about that. The author is the beginning, the finisher is obviously the end. Have you ever noticed that in most races, the start finish line, is the same place. You start in one place and make your way around the track, and you come back and finish. And kind of in that same way, Jesus got us started on this race, and he's also going to be the one that's going to see it to completion. And so, as we are running this race, we are keeping our eyes ahead on the prize, right? That prize that is set before us, that high calling of God. And knowing that our prize is Christ. We're not chasing for him. And it's not like, okay, well, if I get there and I do my works that I can, obtain Christ. No, it's because Christ has already started it in us, and he's going to finish it. So he's the author and finisher of our faith. Faith is how we are saved, by the grace of God. And it's faith in Jesus Christ. That's how he's the beginning and the end. Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the author and the finisher. And so as we are running this race, we do need to put down all the weights, all the burdens, and the sin which so easily ensnares us. Imagine trying to run a race with rope tied around your legs. You think about those games and times, where you'll do like a three-legged race where you tie your legs to somebody else and you try to run through the race together, and how difficult that is. When we're talking about the race of faith, it is a race of endurance, not necessarily speed, not necessarily strength, but endurance. And it has to be looking ahead to Jesus. Finally, last thing I'll say today, notice that Jesus is the perfect example of this. Jesus knew what lay ahead for him. He knew the burden that was ahead. But you didn't hear him going through his ministry here on earth saying, "Oh, I can't believe I've got to go to the cross. Oh, I can't believe I've got to die for you people. I can't believe I'm going to have to go through all this pain and suffering." No, his goal was the cross, knowing that that's why God the Father had sent him there. But he kept his eyes on his prize. He kept his eyes on what was laying before him, and he looked ahead with joy. It wasn't joy of the pain that he was going to endure, but it was joy with knowing that it would accomplish the will of the Father. And you and I, even when God is chastening us and getting us back on path, as the rest of Hebrews 12 deals with, we can look to the finish line. And we can look to Jesus with great confidence and great hope and a great example that we too can accept this life with joy if we know that our eyes are on the prize of Jesus. Today, put those burdens down. Cast those burdens at the feet of Jesus. Cast all your cares upon him because he cares for you, the Bible teaches us. So today, put that burden down and chase after Jesus. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.